MVP! MVP! Won't MVP! Won't MVP! Let's go!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the football field at Milford High School as Milford TV is once again happy to present coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This evening we bring you the final home game of the 2015 regular season for the Scarlet Hawks football team as they get set to take on the Bay State Conference Framingham Flyers. Good evening, everybody. I am Tim Coet. Happy to be along with you on this coverage, and unfortunately Milford has been playing out a non-playoff schedule here over the final leg of the regular season, but that has not stopped this impressive team. They have been on quite a roll over this later stretch of the season. They come into action here tonight with an overall record of 5-4, and they also come into action tonight as the highest scoring offense in the Hockomock League. They have now scored a total of 260 points over the course of their first 9 games of the regular season. Again, that is tops in the Hockomock League, and you look at the last 2 weeks alone, this team has responded. Disappointed to not make it into the playoffs, but they have been determined to finish this season strong, and they have been doing that to this point. 49 points in a victory on the road against Taunton 2 weeks ago, a 49-30 victory, and they managed to outdo themselves last week with a 52-35 win over non-conference Medfield. And Zach Lanzetta has been leading this potent offensive attack. He has recorded 6 touchdown passes in each of the last 2 games for the Scarlet Hawks to bring his overall touchdown total on the season to 24. Just to put that in perspective, folks, there is not another quarterback in the Hockomock League who is even in double digits in touchdown passes on the season. So that is how lethal this passing attack has been, particularly over the last 2 weeks for the Scarlet Hawks. So they will look to keep that going to give the hometown fans one final bit of business to cheer for, as again, Milford gets set to take on Framingham. Framingham, meanwhile, comes into this matchup on the season with an overall record of 2-7, so it has been a struggle for the Flyers during the regular season. So again, one final bit of regular season football here on the home field for the season. It is Milford taking on Framingham. We will have the opening kick in just a few short minutes, so stay tuned to coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics right here on Milford TV. We are getting closer to game time here at Milford High School as the captains gather at midfield for the coin toss. And for the senior captains for Milford, the final time, they will go through these pre-game rituals. Jack DeSantis, Zach Lanzetta, Leo Maranta, Ryan Nesta, and John Nero all out there at midfield for the Hawks, as they are greeted by their Framingham counterparts. An unusual matchup during the football season. These two teams not typically facing one another, but we tend to see some unusual rivalries take shape in these non-playoff games under the new format as the coin toss has now taken place. Framingham has won the toss. They have elected to defer to the second half, so it will be the Milford offense who will take the field first. And again, we talked about it in the pregame open, just how potent this offensive attack has been. Over 100 points scored over the last 2 weeks for the Scarlet Hawks, so they will look to keep that going here on the home field one final time as the entire Scarlet Hawks squad now storms the field, as does the Framingham team. These two sides just moments away from the beginning of this matchup. We will hear the Star-Spangled Banner, and then we will be back for the opening kickoff next against Scarlet Hawks Athletics right here on Milford TV. We are set for kickoff here in Milford. Framingham will be kicking off from left to right across your television screens. Lining up for the kick for the Flyers is senior Gabriel Carrero. And it is a low rolling kick which will make its way out towards the 15-yard line, where it's reeled in there by the Scarlet Hawks, and a great return right back up the middle. It looks like Jack DeSantis, indeed, who gets nearly to midfield, brought down at the 48-yard line. So Milford will start this first offensive possession from their own 48. As the senior quarterback, Zach Lanzetta, will take the field here at home. Lanzetta coming off of another terrific week last week against Medfield. He completed 14 of 25 passes for 379 yards and 6 touchdown passes. That included a 76-yard touchdown bomb, his longest touchdown pass of the season. And Milford will go with 5 wide here on 1st and 10. But before we even see the snap, we'll get a penalty. This will go against the Scarlet Hawks. A false start penalty against Milford, so they will go in the wrong direction to start out the game.
Ball is spotted on the 43.
So the new line of scrimmage now for the Hawks is the 43. It's 1st and 15. As again, with an empty backfield, Lanzetta looks to throw. He lofts it down the near sidelines, and diving for it is DeSantis. The pass is incomplete.
Pass intended for number 2, Jack DeSantis.
No flags on the play. On the coverage was Justin Mascioli for the Flyers. So 2nd down and 15 coming up. Milford really has been airing it out over these last 2 weeks, and Jack DeSantis has stepped into a big role in this passing game. Again, looking to throw on 2nd down. They once again look for DeSantis. This time a flag comes in at the end of the play. There was a lot of contact between DeSantis and the defensive back, Frederick Pappas, one of the senior captains. It almost looked as though it was DeSantis who initiated the contact. But it will be a pass interference call against the Flyers. So it will go against Pappas, who looked like he had gotten in front of DeSantis on the route, but commits the pass interference. So now penalties on both sides on this drive. And it'll be 1st and 10 from the Framingham 43. A quick pass attempt now from Lanzetta, looking for Blake Hill crossing over the middle. And a drop. Hill trying to stick the single hand out to make the catch there, but it falls incomplete. Second and 10 for the Hawks. DeSantis now in the backfield along with Lanzetta. They will hand it off to the senior back, who sprints ahead up the middle. He crosses the 40-yard line, falls down at the 38. A stiff breeze blowing across the field here at game time. It's been a fairly blustery day here all day long in Milford.
3rd down 6 from the 38.
This sets up a 3rd down and 6 as they fake the handoff to DeSantis. Lanzetta with some time. Now the pocket collapses. He throws it over the middle, and it's complete. Completed to Tony Mobilia.
To Jack DeSantis. And the play is good for Scarlet Hawks.
The junior Tony Mobilia making his first catch of the night.
Pass is caught by number 18, Tony Mobilia. 1st and 10, Scarlet Hawks.
So that sets up 1st down for the Hawks all the way down at the Framingham 12. They'll pick up the tempo here as this catch is made on the near side, and dancing untouched into the end zone is the sophomore Tyler Joyce. So the underclassman getting into the act here as he takes it the final 12 yards. And Milford, just like that, takes a 6-0 lead with the point after attempt coming up. Mobilia setting that up with the big 3rd down grab, and then Tyler Joyce with his first touchdown catch of the season. And so the point after attempt from the freshman Sean Lehane is good. 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Milford takes the opening possession down for a score. They lead it 7-0 over Framingham here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. The Scarlet Hawks needing just 1 minute and 10 seconds into this first quarter to come through with the first score of the night. And they have been scoring early and scoring often over these last 2 weeks. As Lehane now kicks the ball away. This one bobbled at the 21-yard line, now into a pile. It bounces out back towards midfield. It looks like Framingham may have fallen on it in the end. And indeed, it will stay Framingham football, but near disaster. So an inauspicious start for the Flyers, who give up a quick score to the Hawks and nearly cough up a fumble on the ensuing kickoff, but instead the offense for Framingham will have a chance to take the field here. as they will start this drive from their own 29-yard line. Led by their senior quarterback, Nate Martino. They'll run it on first down straight up the middle, only a couple of yards there as that defensive front closed in for the Hawks.
Number 15, Frederick Pappas, the ball carrier.
Pappas on the carry for
3-yard gain,
the
second
Flyers,
down, 7.
setting up second down and 7 yards to go. As they put a man in motion, again, they will hand it off on second down. They try a little misdirection, but Milford was not biting. The ball ended up, I believe, back in the hands of Martino, the quarterback, after the initial handoff. Sets up third down and long for the Flyers, 3rd down and 6, so Martino getting a yard on that carry.
1 yard gain on the play. 3rd down, 6 from the 34.
Now Martino will set up in the shotgun. He has Frederick Pappas to his right. And instead here a whistle, it looks like timeout is called. I believe it was Milford who called the timeout, stopping the clock at 8 minutes and 32 seconds to go. Again, 3rd down and 6 from the Framingham 34-yard line. As Framingham talks things over again, it was the sophomore Tyler Joyce who was able to get the scoring started for Milford. And as you start to think about next season for the Scarlet Hawks football team, you can see that there are still a number of skilled players that are going to be back with this team next year. Back out of the timeout now as, again, Martino operates out of the shotgun. This time he will look to throw. He's immediately chased out of the pocket. He rolls out to his left. He'll try to run with it himself, but he's dragged down from behind. And it looked like it was Blake Hill there on the coverage to bring down the quarterback. Well shy of the first down, so a likely punting situation coming up for the visitors.
Two-yard gain on the play brings up 4th down and 4.
So Framingham now setting up in a punting formation. A slow snap, the kick is away. DeSantis will track this ball down towards the far sidelines. Instead, he does the wise thing and lets it roll out of bounds. Looks like right at the 25.
Framingham's punt rolls out around the 25-yard line. 1st and 10, Scarlet Hawks.
So Framingham fails to collect a first down. They go 3 and out on their opening drive, and now Milford will have a chance to come right back out with 7 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the first quarter. The official line of scrimmage, the Scarlet Hawks 27. Milford starting their first possession right around midfield. A bit further back to start possession number 2 as again Lanzetta looks to throw, looks deep over the middle, has Blake Hill, and despite being mauled by the defender, he's still able to reel it in. He had number 89 draped all over him and was still able to make the catch. Chigozie Na there on the coverage in the secondary for Framingham, but Blake Hill just so physical, was able to jump right over the defender to make the catch, and immediately Milford into Flyers territory once again, all the way down to the Framingham 41. Zach Lanzetta came into this game tonight just 124 yards shy of 2,000 yards passing on the season. And instead, the direct snap goes to Jack DeSantis, who's able to plow his way forward. It looks like enough for the first down.
And that play is good for Scarlet Hawks.
So Milford really opening up their offensive playbook here over these final weeks of the season.
From the Framingham 29.
I read some of the comments from Coach Joe Todd after the game last week. The team wishing that it was still September, executing on offense the way they have in these recent weeks. It'll be 1st and 10 Milford from the Framingham 29 as timeout is called on the field. We'll take the timeout as well. 6 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the first quarter. It is 7-0 Milford, and the Scarlet Hawks looking for more when we come back next year on coverage of Milford High School athletics on Milford TV. Right back out of the timeout with a 1st and 10, but now quickly another whistle on the field. Now ready to go, a quick pass into the flat completed to Blake Hill, who's able to stay on his feet for the first down. He crosses the 10-yard line and is finally brought down at the 9.
And that play is good for Scarlet Hawks.
So a quick 20-yard gain on that short pass completion from Lanzetta to Hill. And it is now 1st and goal Milford from the 9. Still over 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. Milford scoring 42 points in just the first half last week against Medfield. One of those touchdowns coming on the defensive side as Tony Mobilia was able to recover a fumble and then bring it into the end zone for a score. Timeout being taken on the field right now as we take a look at the current status of the Hockomock League, and right now all of the games going on in the Hawk are non-playoff games. All of the teams that remained in the playoff hunt last week from the Hockomock League were all eliminated. It was a shocking week for the Hawk as Mansfield was eliminated out of the Division II South bracket with a 22-0 loss to Marshfield. North Attleboro, who seemed like they were on a collision course for Gillette Stadium, they were upset by Duxbury 21-10 in the Division III Southwest semifinals. Also in the Division III Southwest playoffs, Stoughton lost to Milton 38-21, and Foxborough out of Division IV South lost to Hanover 21-20. So it's all non-playoff games happening this week in the Hockomock League. Back out of the timeout. Again, 1st and goal for Milford as Lanzetta looks to throw, looking for the end zone, and that ball is going to be incomplete.
Zach Lanzetta's pass falls incomplete. Brings up 2nd down goal for the Scarlet Hawks from the 9-yard line.
2nd and goal. It looked like that was Dylan Tavano who was streaking towards that back pylon on the far side, trying to make that touchdown grab, but couldn't quite make up the ground. 2nd and goal coming up. An empty backfield for Lanzetta, now looking towards the near side. The quick completion to Blake Hill, a move around the defender, and he is in for the touchdown. A 9-yard touchdown catch for Blake Hill. And Milford now ups the lead to 13-0. And for Blake Hill, that is his 12th touchdown catch of the season. And you can make it now 26 touchdown passes for the quarterback, Zach Lanzetta, as the kick sails through the uprights from Lahane. Still 6 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the first quarter, and it is 14-0 Scarlet Hawks here on coverage of Milford High School football on Milford TV. Once again, Sean Lahane sets up for the kickoff, the ball blowing off the tee on the first try, so they'll require a holder here as, again, the wind continues to be a factor on the field as Lahane's kick will be short. A couple of special teamers collide.
Number 13, Jared Brockway on the return for Framingham.
the 30-yard line where it will be 1st and 10 for Framingham.
1st and 10, Framingham.
And you can even see the leaves blowing around in the distance. It is quite windy conditions here in Milford, even some of the loose field turf blowing around here on the near sidelines. And it looks like now they'll stop play momentarily as they get things under control on the sidelines. All sorts of things blowing around out there. The clock stopped at 6:08 as now Framingham gets set for their 2nd possession. They'll hand it off on 1st down.
Number 15, Frederick Pappas, the ball carrier. One yard gain on the play, 2nd down, 9 from the 31.
This Framingham offense has struggled to put up points at times this season. They average just 11.2 points per game. That is not going to get it done against this tough Milford offense as they try for the pass across the middle.
Martinez pass falls incomplete.
Intended for John Marchetti, one of the senior captains. Framingham's offense scoring an average of 11.2 points per game. Their defense allowing an average of 23.8 points per game. That has not been a recipe for success for the Flyers this season, to the tune of just 2 wins in the first 9 weeks of the season. They are coming off of one of those victories, however, in their most recent game. On 3rd down now, the quarterback Martino looks towards the far sidelines, but his pass is badly overthrown. It ends up drifting into the Framingham bench area, and it will quickly be 4th down and 9. And once again, Framingham will go without a 1st down. Framingham getting their special teams back on the field for another punt. And looks like they were trying for the fake punt and backfiring in a big way as Milford sniffed it out. It looked like it might have been Alex Salamone the first in there to make the tackle. And so disaster for Framingham as they tried to catch Milford off guard with the fake punt. It did not work, and instead it'll be 1st and 10 Milford from the Framingham 25-yard line.
First and 10 Milford from the Framingham 25.
And again, we take a look at some of Milford's season totals on the season. It is the first half where Milford has done by far their most damage, scoring a total of 167 points in the first halves of their games, all totaled on the season, as they'll put it in the hands of Jack DeSantis on 1st down, who fights his way inside the 20. They have outscored opponents in the first half this season by a margin of 167 to 98. Under 5 minutes now to go in the quarter as the pass into the end zone is complete to Jack Capoletti for the touchdown.
Zach Lindsay complete to Jack Capoletti for the score.
Jack Capoletti adds to this offensive display here in the first quarter, and already up to a 20-0 score. And the kick is good. 4 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the first quarter, and it is 21-0 in favor of the Scarlet Hawks. Offensive fireworks here in the last home game of the regular season. And you can watch it all unfold right here on Milford TV. The botched fake punt for Framingham leads to a very quick score for the Scarlet Hawks, and already now they lead at 21-0. and we still have a ways to go here in the first quarter, as Milford forces the kick return out of bounds shy of the 25-yard line. It looked like it may have been Chappelle Feaster on the coverage there for the special teams. And this Framingham offense that so far in 2 possessions has not been able to record a single first down, now back out onto the field. This is an offense that likes to run the ball, but they have quickly played themselves into a situation where they're going to need to
First and 10, Framingham at their own 21.
Make some plays in the air if they have any hope of getting back into this game, which is quickly spiraling out of hand. First and 10 from the Framingham 21. As Martino, the quarterback, back to pass. Dumps it off for the short completion. And now some good yards after the catch for the receiver, who's finally brought down at midfield. Good blocking out in front for Framingham as they get their first big play, their first down, and they're able to get to midfield.
Framingham on the 50.
29 yards on that catch and run. Pappas now with the quick draw play on first down. He's able to grab a couple of yards and bring Framingham into Milford territory for the first time tonight.
7 from the 47.
As the game clock ticks down under 4 minutes to play in this first quarter. The man in motion is John Marchetti. As Martino rolls out to his left, now throws it deep down the far sideline. He has a man, and the pass is incomplete. And it was Marchetti who went deep down that far sideline. He did have a step on the secondary, but the pass a little bit overthrown. DeSantis and Nesta back there on the coverage, and Milford lucky that ball was incomplete.
Down and 7 for Framingham at the Scarlet Hawk 47.
Clock stopped at 3:32 in the first quarter. Milford leading by 3 scores. As the wind continues to gust. Martino getting the play call from the sideline. Framingham's been trying to pick up the tempo on offense here on this drive, and it has given them a little bit more success. They now put the extra protection on the left side, but it does no good, as in for the sack comes Tyler Joyce, who has already made his presence felt in this game with a touchdown catch. Now adds a sack to his resume, so the sophomore Joyce having himself a game here in the first half. That sack brings Framingham all the way back to their own 40. A loss of 13 yards on the sack. And now all of a sudden, Framingham forced to punt. The punt is blocked. And Alex Salamone eventually falls on the ball. And so bad results on a punting play once again for Framingham, who looked like they might have been starting to gather a shred of momentum after the big pass play, but that was quickly negated with the sack, and now the blocked punt, and Milford again will start a drive deep inside Framingham territory, as Lanzetta and the offense right back out onto the field with 2 minutes and 48 seconds to go. Will we see a 4th touchdown before the first quarter comes to a close? Instead, now timeout on the field. The Flyers called the timeout, trying to give their defense a chance to catch their breath. 21-0. It has been all Scarlet Hawks in this first quarter on coverage of Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV. The Milford fans loving this offensive explosion in the first quarter. Their last chance to see their team on their home field this season, and the team giving them plenty of enjoyment to the tune of 3 touchdowns so far. Still just under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. First and 10 Hawks from the Framingham 32 as again Lanzetta looks to pass, looks deep down the near sideline, and it's incomplete. Looking for Blake Hill.
Pass intended for Blake Hill.
No flag on the play. Back there on the coverage, Alexander Ramos, the junior for the Flyers. Zach Lanzetta showing no signs of relenting at all in this first quarter, looking for the quick one-play score. Looking for his favorite target, Blake Hill, down the sideline, now off of play action. They're able to complete it to Capoletti over the middle. He's able to get around one defender. He's eventually brought down by Alexander Ramos inside the 10.
And the play is good for Scarlet Hawks.
And boy, has Jack Capoletti come to life for this offense, in particular over the second half of the season.
First and goal from the 7.
First and goal from the 7 as Lanzetta looks to throw, has no one open, runs with it himself, and slides to a stop just shy of the 5-yard line. Jack Capoletti had had a total of 123 receiving yards through the first 7 weeks of the season, and then in week 8 against Taunton, went off for 6 catches for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game alone, and he has been an integral part of this offense over these last 2 weeks. Lanzetta under pressure, and he is brought down on second and goal. The sack for the Flyers, the senior captain, Mark Umumbo. And so it will be third and goal now for Milford, all the way outside the 10-yard line. It looks...
Third down goal near the 15.
Looks to be all the way out to the 16, so a big loss for Lanzetta on that sack as he looks for the end zone, looks for DeSantis, but just a hair overthrown. He had DeSantis open, but an incompletion, and it now sets up fourth down and goal. And it looks like they will bring Sean Lehane out for the field goal try.
Sean Lehane in for a field goal attempt.
A good snap, and the kick is low, and it ends up on a line right into the Milford front. So a tough kick there for Lehane. Kicks it directly into his own lineman, trying to account for the wind possibly, trying to send that one low through the uprights, but instead it is a missed field goal attempt for Sean Lehane. It keeps the score at 21-0 Milford. Framingham will take over with 65 seconds left to go in this first quarter on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV. Framingham takes over, first and 10 from their own 20, as they will look deep down the far sideline, and the pass is incomplete. It ended up in the Framingham bench as the receiver fell down about 5 yards away from where that ball landed. I believe that was Tayron Campbell, the intended target on that pass attempt, as now they'll keep it on the ground. A good run here for the senior Pappas, who finally gets brought down just shy of midfield.
This guy is good for Framingham first down. First and 10 Flyers on their own 47.
So again, Framingham's trying to really pick up the tempo on offense, trying to get something done on the scoreboard. Ball now at the Framingham 47. 17-yard gain on the ground from Pappas, as this ball is thrown complete into the flat, but it'll end up going as a loss. And it looks like we will see the final seconds of the clock here in the first quarter tick down. The receiver just staying in
36.
bounds as he was tackled, and so this will bring the end to a very long first quarter of play. Roughly 40 minutes to take. 40 minutes to complete this first quarter, I should say. A first quarter that saw 3 touchdowns for the Scarlet Hawks. Tyler Joyce, Blake Hill, and Jack Capoletti with touchdown receptions in this opening 11 minutes of play, and we will flip the field and have the start of the second quarter for you next here on coverage of Milford High School football on Milford TV. Back for the start of the second quarter. Tim Coet here on the coverage for Milford TV as we bring you Scarlet Hawks athletics. Our final coverage of the fall sports season as the quarterback Martino is able to complete the pass over the middle.
Pass is complete. Pass caught by number 13, Jared Brockway.
Jared Brockway, the junior, able to reel in the grab.
Framingham first down.
As Framingham now travels from right to left across your television screens just into the second quarter, and no huddle as Martino will run with this one himself, and he takes a big hit just shy of the Milford 30. Set up second down and 4. 6 yards gained on that run by the quarterback, who now rolls out to his right and felt the pressure coming at him. Gets rid of the ball quickly.
Nathan Martinez pass falls
Dylan Tavano streaking in on the quarterback.
Brings up 3rd down and 4 for Framingham.
And right now, the sophomore backup quarterback for Milford, Matt Curran, is starting to take some snaps on the sideline. You wonder if we will see the underclassman under center before the end of this game. The likely successor to Zach Lanzetta next season on the team. On 3rd down, they hand it off to Pappas, and he is able to get the first down, bringing the ball down to the 20.
This carry is good for Framingham first down.
12 yards gained on the ground by the running back, Frederick Pappas.
12 yard gain of the play. 1st and 10, Framingham at the Scarlet Hawk 20.
So this is the best looking drive Framingham has been able to demonstrate so far tonight. Just prior to the snap, it looks like timeout is called on the field. So Milford wanting to talk things over on the defensive side as Framingham is driving. They have the ball all the way down at the Milford 20-yard line. Timeout taken with 9 minutes and 48 seconds to go. More to come next here on Milford TV. 1st and 10, Framingham from the Scarlet Hawks 20. Martino fakes the handoff on 1st down. He's able to get the completion out towards the 15. The ball complete to Jared Brockway.
Pass call number 13, Jared Brockway.
Sets up 2nd down and 6.
From the 16.
And again, Framingham quickly back to the line. Martino looking to throw, has some protection, now has to roll out. He gets the pass away, looking towards the end zone, and it is overthrown out the back of the end zone. Again, intended for Tayron Campbell. Seems to be Martino's favorite deep threat in this offense.
From the 16.
3rd down and 6 coming up as the defense tries to keep Framingham out of the end zone. Milford leading 21-10, 3 touchdowns scored in the first quarter for the Hawks.
Timeout, Milford.
Milford taking another timeout here with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Just a quick timeout. Mentioned it a little bit earlier. Framingham able to come away with their 2nd victory of the season last week. That ended up being a 22-12 win over another Hockomock League team in the Taunton Tigers. So back-to-back weeks of Framingham facing Hockomock League competition. Now on 3rd down and 6, the give goes to Pappas, and it does not look like he has enough for the first down. Framingham operating out of the Bay State Conference, out of the Carey division within the Bay State Conference.
From the 15.
They reside in 5th place out of the 6 teams in the Carey division. Fourth down and 5, the offense stays on the field. As Nate Martino now hesitates, looks to the sideline. And now will look to throw, facing immediate pressure, but he's able to complete it over the middle. And in for the touchdown. A 15-yard touchdown pass on 4th down.
Number 10, Nathan Martino complete. Number 13, Jared Brockway for the score.
And it was Jared Brockway who reeled in the touchdown grab. So Framingham on the board now. It's 21-6 as they set up for the point after. Gabriel Carrero setting up for the point after attempt, a high snap, but they're able to pull it down, and the point after is good.
And the point after attempt is good. Try successful.
So a big 4th down play results in the first score of the night for the visitors, and with 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go until halftime, it is now 21-7 in favor of the Scarlet Hawks. More to come next here on Milford TV. Carrero now set to kick it away back to the Scarlet Hawks. Line drive kick in and out of the hands of Chappelle Feaster. He goes back to the 5-yard line to pick it up. Now looks to gain some ground towards the far side. He's able to get back across the 20. Brought down, it looks like, at the 22.
First and 10 Milford at their own 22.
Nose of the football right on that 22-yard line of Milford territory. Lanzetta with touchdown passes on his first 3 drives of the night. The most recent drive for the Hawks, stalling. The drive resulted in a missed field goal, as now Lanzetta will go down in the backfield. The 2nd sack of the night for the Flyers. And again, it looked to be Mark Amumbo who was able to wrap up Lanzetta. So Framingham getting some decent penetration into the backfield as this first half goes along.
Loss of 3, 2nd down, 13.
We've really not seen much of a running game out of Milford through this first half, and again Lanzetta will look to throw an empty backfield. Now feels the pressure, backs up, now throws over the middle, complete to Capoletti, who springs loose along the far sideline, bounces off a defender at midfield, now crosses back towards midfield, he accelerates, a desperation tackle missed for Framingham, and in for the touchdown is Jack Capoletti. An 81-yard touchdown catch for Capoletti. He did most of the work himself. Bounced off a number of tackles and showed great burst there towards the end of that run, just accelerating past a pack of defenders in his wake. What a play demonstrated by Jack Capoletti. And now the extra point from Sean Lehane. It is good. Just 2 plays on that drive for the Scarlet Hawks. The first one resulting in a sack, the second one resulting in an 81-yard touchdown reception from Lanzetta to Jack Capoletti. 28-7 in favor of Milford here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. These Scarlet Hawks fans excited to know that Jack Capoletti will be back on this Scarlet Hawks squad again in 2016. The junior has really come on strong. Really more and more as the season has gone on, and in particular over these last 3 weeks, he's become one of Zach Lanzetta's favorite targets. as a flag comes in right at the end of that kickoff return. Milford kicking back to the Flyers.
Framingham's return is down
ball
at the
right now
25.
spotted
Flag on the field.
just shy of the 25. And a personal foul looks like going against Framingham. Milford, of course, losing the services of one of their senior captains here in the later stages of this season, Leo Maranta, suffering a season-ending injury.
Personal foul on the Scarlet Hawks is the penalty.
But the rest of these receivers have continued to step up, and it seems like Capoletti stepped into that role vacated by Maranta. And he and Zach Lanzetta have come up with some kind of chemistry throughout this 2015 regular season, as Martino will run it on first down.
Nathan Martino
he is unable to get back out of the backfield.
Met by a host of Scarlet Hawk defenders.
Nate Martino, that will go down as a sack against the Framingham quarterback as the clock continues to roll. Under 6 minutes to go in the half. It has been
loss of 4 on the play, second down.
An elongated first half of play, thanks in most part to the fact that the Scarlet Hawks continue to have long scoring drives. Already with 4 touchdowns through the first half to open up a 28-7 lead. Martino now looking to throw, flushed out of the pocket, trying to turn the corner on the far sideline. He's able to make something out of nothing. As he was being pursued by sophomore David Abatanozzi.
Flag on the play, dead ball, personal foul on the Scarlet Hawks.
So now the personal foul going against the Scarlet Hawks, a dead ball foul committed by Milford. This will tack 15 yards on for
15-yard penalty on the play.
The Framingham Flyers.
First and 10, Framingham from the Scarlet Hawk 43.
Pappas in the backfield for Framingham. The man in motion, John Marchetti. The run goes towards the far side of the field.
The ball carrier.
Pappas able to cross the Scarlet Hawks 40-yard line. Tick under 5 minutes now in the half.
5-yard gain on the play.
Second down and 5 for the Flyers now. They fake the handoff to Pappas. Martino able to elude tackles in the backfield, now running free. Still on his feet inside the 5 and brought down just shy of the goal line. Flag comes in at the end of the play. About a 36-yard gain on the keeper. But that run will be negated as the penalty goes against Framingham. Clock stopped right now at 4:36 as the mascot for the Scarlet Hawks makes his presence felt on our Milford TV cameras. Malcolm Zale once again, our hard-working sideline cameraman.
First and 10 on the 16.
Matt Winsky on our high cam, Rob O'Keefe, our technical director. And I am Tim Coet, bringing you our final coverage of the fall sports season. Of course, much more athletics to come over the winter and spring sports seasons, which we will be bringing you here on Milford TV. First and 10 from the 16. as Martino throws towards the end zone and nearly intercepted. It was right there for the taking for Chappelle Feaster, but the ball falls incomplete. The intended target, Michael Stornaris.
Second down and 10 for Framingham.
Chappelle Feaster is certainly another player that Scarlet Hawks fans will get to know well in the years to come. Just a freshman on this varsity team, making an impact in the running game as well as in the passing game and in the defensive secondary. Is now Pappas with the run on second down.
Frederick Pappas, the ball carrier.
Rams his way inside the 10, down close to the 5, where he will set up a 1st and goal for the Flyers.
This carry is good for a Flyer first down. Makes it 1st down and goal from the 5.
Clock right now frozen at 3 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the first half. And timeout called on the field. Again, we've talked about some of Milford's scoring trends over the course of this 2015 season. This second quarter has actually been their favorite quarter, scoring a total of 111 points in the second quarter. Through the first 9 weeks of the season, that is by far their best mark. As right now both squads talk things over, with Milford leading this game 28-7 on the second to last game of the football calendar, the final home game for the Scarlet Hawks. Of course, they will finish out the regular season with a new Thanksgiving rival this year, as they will play on Thanksgiving morning at Randolph High School for the first time. But still a long way to go in this one, as it will be 1st and goal now for the Flyers out of the timeout. Martino with the handoff to Frederick Pappas.
Frederick Pappas, the ball carrier,
who was quickly brought down over the middle. With the clock winding down towards 3.5 minutes to go in this first half.
1 yard gain on the play. 2nd down and goal.
Gain of just a single yard for Pappas on 1st and goal. The ball spotted on the Milford 5. We have not seen any turnovers yet in this game. We have seen a failed fake punt from Framingham and a punt block. But Milford could use a turnover right here. 2nd and goal from the Milford 5 as Martino looks to throw and is being pursued by a pair of defenders who quickly got to the backfield, but Martino is able to make his way around towards the far sideline, and he eventually makes his way across the goal line for a 5-yard touchdown run. And so that brings the score right now to 28-13 with a point after attempt coming up.
Number 18, Gabriel Carrero, in for the point after attempt.
Carrero again setting up for the point after. A good snap. And the kick is good. So Framingham starting to put some things together here in the second quarter. They're able to score another touchdown on the 5-yard keeper from the quarterback, Nate Martino, and with 2 minutes and 54 seconds to go before halftime, it is now 28-14. The Scarlet Hawks still out in front on coverage of Milford High School athletics on Milford TV. A high, shallow kick makes its way right out of bounds off the foot of Carrero. The clock still at 2:54 to go in the half. It's down to a 2-touchdown lead now for the Scarlet Hawks, so this game is not a runaway at this point. Framingham coming through with a pair of touchdowns in the second quarter. about how big that sack was earlier in the half from the Milford defense after Framingham was starting to put things together, getting themselves into Milford territory, and it ended up being a 13-yard loss on a sack of Martino on 3rd down. That ended up stalling that drive in its tracks. It ended up being one of the botched punt attempts on that drive for Framingham that resulted in another score for Milford. Otherwise, this game could be much different than it is. Instead, now here on 1st down, a quick completion to Blake Hill, who was able to stay on his feet. Looked like he was wrapped up after a short gain, but was able to spring loose and get past midfield, although Blake Hill right now hobbling a bit as he heads back towards the sidelines. So the junior Blake Hill coming off the field and slams the helmet down, so not a good sign on the sidelines for Milford, as now Lanzetta can't avoid the traffic in the backfield. He gets taken down for the 3rd time in this game, the 3rd sack for this Framingham defense.
Loss of 1 on the play. 2nd down, 11 from the 48.
Hill right now just standing on the sidelines, not being tended to by the Milford training staff. As Lanzetta looks to throw over the middle, and the completion to Jack DeSantis. Great elevation on that leap for DeSantis. He's able to reel it in inside the Framingham 30.
First and 10 Milford from the Framingham 28.
24 yards on that completion from Lanzetta to Jack DeSantis, and now this completion to the senior captain Ryan Nesta will get Milford down to the 15.
Pass caught by number 24 Ryan Nesta. And that play is good for the Scarlet Hawks.
Under 90 seconds to go in the 1st half. Milford looking to answer right back to the Framingham touchdown. Lanzetta again looks to throw, again completes it to Capoletti. A flag down back in the end zone as Capoletti was brought down, looked like at the 12. Clock stopped at 1:17, and it looks like they will pick up the flag. So no flag on the play. It will stand as a short completion. A short completion from Lanzetta to Jack Capoletti.
No flag on the play. 2nd down and 6.
2nd down and 6 for the Scarlet Hawks, who again have an empty backfield. Lanzetta throwing for the end zone, and Blake Hill back into the game, and he's able to make the 6-yard touchdown grab. Just under a minute to go in the half, and the Scarlet Hawks again are able to tack on to the lead. That is Blake Hill's 2nd touchdown catch of the half.
His kick is good. Try
And
successful.
the point after is good. Again, 57 seconds remain before the teams hit the locker rooms, and it is 35-14 in favor of the Scarlet Hawks. Coverage of Milford High School athletics on Milford TV. With his 2 touchdown receptions in the 1st half, Blake Hill now up to 13 touchdown catches overall on the season, as Lahane's kick drifts out towards the 15-yard line. More collisions amongst the special teamers of Framingham. That's the 2nd time we've seen that in this half.
Brockway with the recovery.
Brockway eventually able to secure the loose ball. But Blake Hill with 13 touchdown receptions on the season to go along with 6 rushing touchdowns. Blake Hill, just an offensive force in the Hockomock League in 2015, and he will be back, of course, for his senior season next year. .52 seconds remain in the half as the Framingham offense starts at 1st and 10 from the 20. The run to the far side by Frederick Pappas. He spills out across the 28. The clock continuing to roll, so the final play is about to take place in this first half. The give straight up the middle by Framingham, brought down at the 35.
This rush is good for our Flyers first down.
Gives Framingham the first down, 1st and 10 to the 36. And we will have a timeout here. The clock stopped with 22 seconds to go, so this first half not quite done yet. 35-14 Milford. We will be back to close out the half next on Milford TV. The Scarlet Hawks cheerleaders wearing the road uniforms for the football team on this final home game of the regular season. Keeping this crowd entertained. All of the offense seems to have left this crowd a little bit quiet, getting used to this high-scoring offensive attack. As Martino nearly with the completion over the middle. John Marchetti taking a very hard hit.
Nathan Martino's pass falls incomplete.
Marchetti unable to secure the catch, and he gets a vicious hit for his efforts. The incompletion stops the clock with 13 seconds to go.
2nd down and 10 for Framingham.
2nd and 10 from the Framingham 35-yard line. The run up the middle on 2nd down.
Frederick Pappas, the ball carrier.
And the final seconds now will tick away off the clock as that run came to a stop at the Framingham 42-yard line, and that is the final play of the half. A very successful half for the Scarlet Hawks offense. They scored on all but one of their possessions through this first half. A pair of touchdown catches for Blake Hill. A pair of touchdown catches for Jack Capoletti, and also the sophomore Tyler Joyce reeling in a touchdown in this first half. And all totaled, it is a 35-14 lead for Milford at the half. We will step aside as the Scarlet Hawks marching band gets set to entertain the crowd here in Milford. We will be back for the start of the 3rd quarter next. Again, you're enjoying coverage of Milford High School football right here on Milford TV. We welcome you back inside Milford High School for the start of the second half between the Scarlet Hawks and the Framingham Flyers, and Milford penalized before they even take the field for this second half. Getting a delay of game penalty for taking a bit too long to come out of the locker room for the second half, and that has been a bit of a problem for Milford here at home throughout this 2015 season. We've seen them take longer and longer to come back onto the field after hitting the locker rooms, and even up by 3 scores, taking their time at the half. And so there will be penalty yardage enforced against the Scarlet Hawks on this kickoff.
Brockway on the return for Framingham.
You will recall Framingham won the coin toss to start the game, elected to defer to the second half, so that is giving Framingham possession here to start the second half. A 35-14 lead for Milford. Recapped the scoring plays all right before we paused for halftime. Blake Hill and Jack Capoletti each with a pair of touchdown catches to go along with the touchdown from the sophomore Tyler Joyce. Nate Martino with the completion to the running back, Pappas, on first down. The check down able to get them back to the line of scrimmage, it appears, and nothing more.
No gain of play. Brings it second down and 10 for the Flyers at their own 30.
So second down and 10. As indeed, no gain on that catch from Pappas. And they will keep it on the ground on second and 10. Pappas again, just shy of the 35. The ball spotted in between the 34 and 35 yard lines. So it will be third down and 6 coming up. Pappas with a back to his left. He drops back to pass, has some time in the pocket. Now forced out. A flag comes in as Martino's still on his feet. And he's able to get out past the 40-yard line. It looked like he did get enough for the first down on the run, but it ends up being for nothing as the holding call goes against the Flyers. And of course, while we have the opportunity, since this week we did celebrate Veterans Day back on Wednesday, we want to wish a happy Veterans Day to all of the servicemen and women, not only in the Milford area, but of course everywhere. Milford unfortunately having to cancel their Veterans Day parade this year. However, we were able to cover some Veterans Day ceremonies that took place between the VFW and the Senior Center earlier this week. That coverage made available on the Milford Informer. As Martino throws deep over the middle, and it is complete to Brockway, and he is going to be forced out inside the 10. Martino just throwing that one up for grabs, and it looked like it bounced off the shoulder of one of the Milford defenders and right into the arms of Jared Brockway, who was able to take it all the way down to the 10-yard line. Brockway running his route. He had people in the crowd yelling for him to turn around to make sure he was aware that the ball was coming his way. He turned around just in time to make the catch, as now Martino is wrestled down for the sack. He was able to initially elude the grasp of a Milford defender, but still brought down for the sack. A loss of 3 yards on the sack. This Flyers offense has found a way to come through with some big plays in this game. Martino now with an eye towards the sidelines, getting the play call. The head coach for the Framingham Flyers is Gary Doherty. Martino rolling out far to his right, now pulling the ball down to run with it himself, and Ryan Nesta will force the quarterback out of bounds, but a couple of flags come in, and Nesta may have gotten a bit too physical there on the coverage. And now another flag comes in after the play ends, as players on both sides mixing it up. Nesta and Martino locked up as Martino made his way out of bounds, but Nesta continuing to force the quarterback to the ground. That incited the flag. So everything getting sorted out on the field now as the clock is stopped at 8:12 to go in the third quarter. Nesta right now on the sidelines talking over that last play with Jack Capoletti and Leo Maranta, not agreeing with the penalty flag. First and goal now from the 3, and they will hand it off to Pappas, who is going to be wrestled down shy of the goal line. Good coverage from Ryan Gray, the junior lineman. They give Pappas a yard, so it will be second and goal now from the 2. The Flyers knocking on the door of their 3rd touchdown of this game. The clock ticking down to 7.5 minutes to play in the 3rd. Plenty of muscle in the backfield on second and goal for Framingham, and into the end zone for the touchdown. It was Pappas who was able to finish off the drive with the 2-yard plunge. That's the 2nd rushing touchdown of the game for Framingham. Martino, the quarterback, with the other, to go along with the touchdown catch by Brockway. Framingham lined up for the extra point, which is blocked. And back to pick it up is Milford. Dylan Tavano with the ball in his hands and could not quite spring free, but the point after attempt blocked by the Scarlet Hawks. So that will keep the score at 35-20. Milford continues to lead it. They will get the ball for the first time in the second half when we come back. Again, coverage of Milford High School athletics comes your way here on Milford TV. The backup quarterback, Matt Curran, continues to loosen on the sidelines. It will be interesting to see if the sophomore sees any time on the field here as the second half goes along. In the meantime, Framingham preparing to kick away back to the Scarlet Hawks. They kick it deep inside the 10. It's reeled in by Jack DeSantis, who takes it straight back up the middle, tries to leap over a defender, and Framingham able to make a shoestring tackle that brings DeSantis down at the 35. Framingham has now scored on their last 2 possessions. A rushing touchdown to close out the first half, a rushing touchdown to open up the 3rd quarter.
Attention, please, if you have lost a cell phone, please report to the snack bar to claim it. Again, lost cell phone, please go to the snack bar.
Meanwhile, the Scarlet Hawks offense back out onto the field now for the first time in the 3rd quarter. 1st and 10 from their own 35 as Lanzetta will look to throw. The pass is completed to Joyce. Joyce on his feet inside Framingham territory before he is brought down at the Framingham 39-yard line.
First and 10 Milford at the Framingham 39.
A 27-yard gain by the sophomore Joyce, and now Lanzetta is in trouble.
Lanzetta is sacked.
He is sacked again. As I believe the 4th sack of this game now of Zach Lanzetta.
45.
A 5-yard loss. The line of scrimmage now, the Framingham 45. Lanzetta with an empty backfield with some time, and the pass is intercepted. Picked off by
Lanzetta's pass is intercepted.
Number 43 on the Framingham roster. There is no 43 listed on the roster we've been provided with. But an interception for Framingham, so a potential momentum swing in this game. It is just a 2-possession game right now.
First and 10 Framingham at the Milford 48.
The most points Framingham had scored in a game so far this season had been 22 points.
Frederick Pappas, the ball carrier.
As Pappas gets the carry on first down. Those 22 points were scored by Framingham last week in their 22-12 win over Taunton.
Loss of 1 on the play, second down 11 from the 49.
Prior to that, their high water mark on the season in points scored was 14, which they scored in a loss back on October 16th to Needham High School. Second down and 11, the quick pass in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Unfortunately, another number not listed on our Framingham roster that we were provided with.
8, Michael Sistonaris. Brings up third down 11 from the 49.
Sets up third down and 11. The ball just inside Milford territory at the 49. The defense needing a stop here to halt this building Framingham momentum. Martino back to throw. Quick penetration into the backfield. He's able to get the pass away, and it is completed to Tayron Campbell.
Nathan Martino's pass is complete.
Number 88, Tayron Campbell with the completion. And it will set up an interesting play call here for the Framingham Flyers. Fourth down
and 3 for Framingham.
And 3 yards to go. They keep the offense on the field. Martino drops back to pass, looking for the deep ball, and it is incomplete. Again, looking for Campbell. The ball just out of his grasp. Campbell with a step on Alex Salamone in the secondary for Milford, but just unable to reel it in. And so Framingham will turn it over on downs. That was really a gift
to turn over on downs to Milford.
On the Framingham side. A fourth down and 3, they go for the deep pass instead of trying to convert the first down, and they give the ball back to Milford, so the interception doesn't hurt.
Zach Lanzetta's pass.
And now Lanzetta targeting Tony Mobilia, the pass incomplete.
For Tony Mobilia. Brings it second down and 10.
Under 5 minutes to play
41.
In the third quarter. Milford not quite operating with the same level of efficiency that we saw earlier in the game. They will hand it off to DeSantis on second down. DeSantis dances his way past the 45. Brought down just past the 46. Milford right back to the line of scrimmage. Second down and 4. And it looks like Framingham calls the timeout just prior to the snap. That stops the clock with 4 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the third quarter. It's not a runaway at this point. Milford 35, Framingham 20. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. Back out of the timeout, third down and 4 for the Hawks. Lanzetta, the quick pass to Blake Hill. Hill just able to get the first down. Like he tripped himself up there at the end of the play, but he was able to get enough yardage for the first down.
Play is good for the Scarlet Hawks. First and 10 at the 47.
Milford goes no huddle once again as the sophomore Tyler Joyce gets split out wide to the far side. Sprinting down that far sideline. Instead, the pass is completed to Capoletti over the middle.
Zach Lanzetta's pass is complete to Jack Capoletti.
Capoletti down at the Framingham 35. Another first down completed for the Scarlet Hawks.
Milford at the Flyer 35.
Lanzetta, an empty backfield. The quick pass, it's completed to Hill on the near sideline. He stays on his feet, stays in bounds, spins off of a couple of tackles, and in for the touchdown. Framingham imploring that he was out of bounds back towards the 10, but instead it is a 35-yard touchdown catch reeled in by Blake Hill. It ups the lead to 41-20 with a point after attempt from Sean Lehane coming up.
Sean Lehane.
Framingham not pleased at all. Again, they thought that they had pulled Hill out of bounds right around that 10-yard line, but no whistle. The officials ruling that Hill stayed in bounds, and he was able to make his way all the way in for the Scarlet Hawks. Touchdown, the third touchdown catch of this game for Blake Hill, and that is the 30th touchdown pass for the senior quarterback, Zach Lanzetta, this season. Kick is good.
This kick is good.
42-20 now.
That makes your score Milford.
The lead for the Scarlet Hawks. As we will bring you more football coverage next here on Milford TV. Milford kicking the ball away once again to the Flyers. The catch made, it looked like Campbell on the return for Framingham. Just a short return getting it to the 32, and now some players getting into it a bit. It looked like it was predominantly on the Framingham side. Milford keeping their cool. As the ball will be spotted on the Framingham 32-yard line. 6 touchdown passes tonight for Lanzetta. 6 touchdowns a week ago against Medfield. 6 touchdowns the week before that against Taunton. 6, 6, and 6. It seems only appropriate on this Friday the 13th. 18 touchdown passes in the last 3 weeks and an even 30 touchdowns on the season for Lanzetta. A season for the ages. As the ball's now on the ground and Milford falls on it on the rushing attempt on first down for the Flyers. The ball comes loose. And it looked like Riley Burns, the junior, able to come up with a fumble recovery. So Milford right back on offense with 3:26 to go in the third quarter. And there is your first turnover of the game.
Number 77, Riley Burns with the fumble recovery for the Scarlet Hawks.
First and 10, Milford from the 36. A flag comes in as the catch is made in for the touchdown, pending the flag.
Flag on the field.
It was Tony Mobilia with the catch, but the holding call goes against Milford. So the 36-yard would-be touchdown catch for Mobilia wiped off the board. We have seen some big plays out of this Milford offense tonight.
First down
we saw an 81-yard touchdown catch and run by Jack Capoletti back in the first half. Nearly a big touchdown bomb there, but instead a 10-yard penalty sets up first and 20. They'll give it to DeSantis, who
Jack DeSantis, the ball carrier,
is able to get just across the 45-yard line now, instead marked down right at the 45. Just 1 yard gained on that rushing attempt for DeSantis. Again, not much in the way of rushing offense for the Scarlet Hawks tonight. Lanzetta awaiting the snap, second down and 19. Stays in the pocket, looks deep down the field, and it is intercepted.
Zach Lanzetta's pass
the second interception thrown tonight by Zach Lanzetta. Nindu Kabangu, the defensive back, with the interception.
First and 10, Framingham from their own 10.
So possession goes right back to the Flyers. keep it on the ground on first down as the quarterback runs it himself.
This carry is good for Framingham first down.
So Lanzetta
First and 10 Flyers.
had only thrown 2 interceptions in total on the season coming into the game tonight. He has thrown 2 so far in this game. As the clock winds down to an even 2 minutes in this third quarter. It had started off as a quick-moving third quarter, but things have slowed down with a couple of turnovers, 1 on each side. And right now, timeout taken with 2 minutes to go. 42-20 in favor of Milford. More to come next here on Milford TV. First and 10 for the Framingham Flyers as that pass is incomplete. The deflection nearly ended up in the arms of the Scarlet Hawks, but an incomplete, and it will be second down and 10.
Brings up second down and 10 for the Flyers at their own 20.
It was not Martino under center for that last pass attempt. It's number 9 with the throw, but unfortunately, again, 9 not listed on our Framingham roster. It is Martino back under center now, who will run with it. He is eventually going to be forced hard out of bounds, and we will have a flag at the end of the play.
Flag on the field.
And no doubt another unnecessary roughness call. We've seen a bit of bad blood start to come through between these two teams as the second half has worn on.
Personal foul is the call on the Scarlet Hawks.
So Milford again with the personal foul for unnecessary roughness. Clock stopped right now at 1:45 in the quarter. First and 10 for the Flyers.
First and 10
from their 43.
43.
Fans here in Milford continuing to cheer on the home team as Martino goes down, the ball loose, but they will rule him down. They will call it as a sack. And lucky that the knee was down for Martino, or that would have been a turnover. And Martino right now slow to get up. And it looks like the training staff will need to come out to attend to the senior quarterback, Nate Martino. So we will step away for the injury timeout. Again, 42-20 the score, just over 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. You're on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. A very light mist starting to fall in Milford now as we come out of the timeout. The backup quarterback in for now for the Flyers as Martino had to be helped off the field by the training staff.
Framinham's pass ball is incomplete.
Lanzetta throwing on the sidelines. It looks as though he intends to come back out for Milford's next possession. Meanwhile, it's third down and 10 for the Flyers from their 43. Looking to throw now, the quarterback able to get free from the pocket. Gets out past the 45-yard line. That's where he is brought down by the Scarlet Hawks defense. You can see everyone on the Milford sidelines trying to stay loose. Blake Hill doing some stretches.
Quarterback either by Framingham.
It's turned into a very cold night here in Milford, and again, a little bit of rain falling just a very light mist. There's also been some wind. It is 4th down and 7 for the Flyers, so punting the ball, just able to get that kick away, as it's going to take a good roll. That one rolling inside the Milford 15 before bouncing out of bounds. So Milford pinned back relatively deep in their own territory to start this next drive, which will begin with 38 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
1st and 10, Milford at their own 13.
Lanzetta does indeed come back out onto the field, so no sign of sending the backup QB in just yet. The last Milford drive ending in an interception. Lanzetta looking to throw on 1st down, looking over the middle, completed to Capoletti, who is wrapped up.
Lanzetta's pass is complete to Jack Capoletti. And the play
But
is
not
good.
until Capoletti was able to reel in the 1st down, bringing the Hawks out to the 35. So not pinned deep in their own territory for long. Another pass attempt coming up on the 1st and 10, completed to Dylan Tavano.
Zach, Lanzetta's pass is complete. Pass caught by number 10, Dylan Tavano.
The senior Dylan Tavano getting in on the offense. Again, we've seen the
2nd
Scarlet
down,
Hawks work in a number of different receivers into this offense in recent weeks and in this game in particular. And that whistle will mark the conclusion of the 3rd quarter. Just 11 minutes remain on the home schedule for the Scarlet Hawks this season, this penultimate game of the regular season, this final home game of 2015. It all comes down to the 4th quarter, which will begin next here on Milford TV. Beginning of the 4th quarter now as Lanzetta looks deep down the field for Tony Mobilia, who is able to make the catch crossing the Framingham 35-yard line. Mobilia favoring the left arm a bit as he went to the sidelines. But a nice catch out of the junior Tony Mobilia. 1st and 10 Hawks from the Framingham 35 off of play action. The pass is completed to Joyce. Joyce still on his feet, looking for his 2nd touchdown of the game, but he will be brought down just past the 10-yard line, but a solid reception for the sophomore Tyler Joyce, who has become a fan favorite over the course of this game tonight. Just inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Scarlet Hawks, and before we see another play, we will see a timeout. While we have the opportunity, we will look at the updated Hockomock League standings as of the start of this night tonight, and of course, all of the Hockomock League teams closing out the year with non-playoff games, but we'll look at the standings nonetheless. It is Foxborough who continues to be the 1st place team in the Davenport division with an overall record of 7-2. They are followed by Stoughton with an overall record of 5-4. Then it is Canton at 6-3. Then the Milford Scarlet Hawks in 4th place in the Davenport standings with a 5-4 record, looking for their 6th win of the season. In 5th place in the Davenport, it's the Sharon Eagles at 3-6, and Oliver Ames in the win column now, but still a 1-8 record overall on the season. The Kelly Rec standings shake out like this: North Attleboro, Attleboro, Mansfield, King Philip, Franklin, and Taunton. as the pass is completed to Tony Mobilia, who takes it in for the Scarlet Hawks touchdown. A 9-yard touchdown catch from Lanzetta to Tony Mobilia. So you can make it 31 touchdown passes for Zach Lanzetta this season, as he's able to handle the low snap, but the kick is short. The kick no good for Sean Lehane, so that will keep the score at Milford 48 and Framingham 20 with just over 10 minutes to go in this game. Coverage of Milford High School athletics on Milford TV. Milford getting set for another kickoff. Again, Sean Lehane will require the services of a holder, as the breeze continues to be a factor. A short kick pulled down just shy of the 20-yard line, and the return goes out nearly to the 40. The return man for Framingham, number 26, Cameron Hoggebrook. The high school marching band continuing to keep these fans enthused. The cheerleaders also going through a routine prior to this next play taking shape on the field. Framingham with a 1st and 10 from their own 40, but before we see that play, the Scarlet Hawks calling a timeout. So these fans getting their money's worth out of this game tonight as we go past 9 o'clock in the evening. It has been a long one here tonight. Quick timeout for Milford, getting situated on defense ahead of this drive for the Flyers. Again, their starting quarterback, Nate Martino, it looks like he is not going to return to this game after taking a hard hit on Framingham's last drive. Their backup quarterback now with the keeper. Some good gain on the ground here on the keeper as the ball is swatted away at the end of the play, but it ends up out of bounds. A good gain into Milford territory. A 28-yard gain on the ground for the Framingham backup quarterback. Now the give goes to Pappas on 1st and 10. Pappas gets it inside the 30. As the clock continues to roll. And even 9.5 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. Framingham out of the shotgun. The rollout to the far side. Now the pass, and it is incomplete. Underthrown.
Pass ball's incomplete.
Looks like Jared Brockway was the intended target.
Pass intended for Jared Brockway. Comes up 3rd down and 6.
Sets up 3rd down as you can see more debris blowing across the field here in Milford with all of this wind. Third down and 6 from the 28, looking to throw, and just avoiding the sack, the pass away, it's bobbled and it's incomplete. Brockway again, the intended target. He had it in his grasp. Juggled it, was able to recover briefly, but eventually the ball falling incomplete. And that sets up 4th down and 6. And the offense stays on the field for Framingham on this 4th down. Now in trouble, and the quarterback goes down. The sack on 4th down.
Sack by Milford on the play. And the result of the play is a turnover on downs.
Looked like Patrick Brajoli on the sack for the Scarlet Hawks. And so Milford will take over.
Number 62, Patrick Brajoli.
With the 48-20 lead. The offense breaks the huddle, and it looks like we will see the sophomore Matt Curran take over under center.
First and 10, Milford.
And Curran hands it off on 1st down. The give goes to Neil Arcolano. A hard hit at the end of that play. So a lot of the backups getting a chance to play here.
Good for a gain of 2 yards. Second down, 8 from the
Milford with the 28-point lead with time winding down in the 4th. And again, as you start to look forward to the 2016 edition of the Scarlet Hawks, it in all likelihood will be Matt Curran who will take over as the starting quarterback come next season. And whereas Zach Lanzetta had a tremendous amount of varsity experience coming into this season, taking over as the full-time backup, getting split time with John Hearns over the previous few seasons, Matt Curran has seen very little action at the varsity level. So whereas in a lot of situations this would be meaningless playing time, it's very meaningful for Curran to be able to get this varsity experience, get this in-game experience ahead of next season. And a bad snap that briefly eluded the hands of Curran. He was able to recover, but he does take the significant loss on the sack. And so it ends up being a very quick 3-and-out for Curran on the drive. Under 7 minutes to play.
Loss of 8 on the play, brings up 4th down and 16.
As Sean Lehane will punt. I believe this is the first Milford punt of the night. Rugby style kick. Lehane was just able to get it away. Milford will let it roll. It finally comes to a stop at the Framingham 38.
First 10 Framingham at their own 38.
So with just over 6.5 minutes to play, it will be back to Framingham ball. And so for Zach Lanzetta, if indeed he has played his final snap here at home this season, what a way to go out with 7 touchdown passes in this game. In his final 2 home games of his varsity career, throwing 13 touchdown passes. I had a chance to talk to athletic director Peter Boucher last weekend. The athletic staff here at Milford has been hard at work trying to go through the archives to see exactly where the all-time passing stats are for Milford football. They did not have a exact number for the record for touchdown passes or passing yards when I talked to the athletic director last week, but they're very confident that Zach Lanzetta, by the time the season is done, will have shattered what records did exist. Flyers hand it off on 1st down, and the running back, number 42 for the Framingham Flyers, Isaac Miko Blackman, brought down in the backfield. this game was relatively close for a while. It was just a two-possession game into the third quarter, but Milford giving themselves some more breathing room. And now just under 6 minutes away from securing their 6th victory of the season as Framingham continues to run the ball. They do have a first down just shy of midfield. Framingham has already closed out their home schedule. They will wrap up their 2015 season on Thanksgiving Day, renewing their rivalry with Natick High School.
Number 42, Michael Blackman, the ball carrier. This carry is good for Framingham first down.
Natick High School overall on the season 3-6, also a member of the Bay State Conference. Milford playing non-conference competition in their final 3 weeks of the season, taking on the Tri-Valley League Medfield High School last week, now taking on a Bay State Conference opponent this week in Framingham, and they will close out the season, of course, with that Thanksgiving matchup with non-conference Randolph.
Blackman, the ball carrier. A 7-yard gain in the play. Second down, 3.
We look back at Milford's home schedule this season. It was a bit of an unusual home schedule. A couple of Saturday games mixed in. Of course, they played a lot of bad weather games here at home this season, but still, they were able to come away with a home victory against Oliver Ames and home victory last week against Medfield. They suffered losses at home to Stoughton and Foxborough. So a 2-2 record at home at this point. A victory here tonight will ensure an over 500 finish here at Milford High School.
At the Milford 18.
But Framingham continuing to plug their way down the field, a 1st and 10 from the Milford 18. And the running back breaking free now, just shy of the goal line. It looks like he'll be brought down. No, in for the touchdown goes number 26, Cameron Hoggebrook.
Touchdown Framingham. Number 26, Cameron Hoggebrook with the score.
So that will boost Framingham's point total to 26 with the point after coming up. Milford allowing a garbage time score. And this will allow Framingham to notch their high in terms of points scored in a single game this season. They will go for the 2-point conversion, it looks like. Jared Brockaway takes the snap, and the ball is intercepted in the end zone by Tony Mobilia. So the point after, or the 2-point conversion, I should say, no good. So it keeps the score at 48-26. Milford with the lead. 3 minutes and 49 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. We'll see if Milford can bleed away the remainder of this clock when we come back next here on Milford TV. A rolling kick up the middle on the kickoff for the Flyers. The return straight back up the middle for the Scarlet Hawks. The return man this time, number 41 for the Hawks. Set up 1st and 10 for the Hawks. Right at the 40. Again, the Hawks letting the second unit players have a chance on the field here in these final minutes. Matt Kern, the sophomore quarterback, back out there leading the offense. He has Shanti Feaster, the junior, in the backfield. low snap, just plucked off the turf by Curran. He puts it in the hands of Feaster, who pushes his way forward close to the first down.
Number 3, Shantae Feaster, the ball carrier. 9-yard gain on the play. Second down.
A gain of 9 for the junior. The clock still rolling, ticking down towards 3 minutes to play as Milford is right at midfield. The ball spotted on the Milford 49. Curran out of the shotgun, back to his left. They fake the handoff. Instead, it's Curran who takes it himself up the middle for the first down. Crossing into Framingham territory. Curran did get into the game briefly last week. He did not attempt to pass in the game last week. We will see if that will hold true in this game as well. So far, it's been all running plays since Curran's been in the game. Coming down to 2 minutes to play as again the handoff goes to Shantae Feaster. Feaster towards the far side. He is stood up right around the line of scrimmage. It looks like they will give a yard of forward progress to Shantae Feaster. Down to the Framingham 47 with just 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining in this game. Curran ready, he takes the snap. He will run it himself straight up the middle. He has the first down across the 35-yard line.
And that play is good for the Scarlet Hawks.
So Curran providing some of the best rushing offense Milford has had today. Milford doing it almost exclusively with the passing game with Lanzetta through the first 3+ quarters. We're about to see the final minute of play. 1st and 10 from the 33. Curran will run it himself once more. Down to the 33. 46 seconds left on the clock.
No gain on the play. 2nd down, 10.
Just a few final plays remain here at Milford High School for this season. All of the other fall sports have completed their 2015 campaigns. The football team with a few seconds left here today, and then they will officially bring an end to the fall sports season in a couple of weeks with their Thanksgiving Day game. Down to 15 seconds. Milford now in victory formation, and Matt Curran will take a knee, and this will wind down the remainder of the clock for this final home game of the regular season. A successful one for the Scarlet Hawks. 7 touchdown passes for Zach Lanzetta, and it all totals up to a 48-26 victory for Milford over Framingham. A big thank you to all of our Milford TV crew on hand for the game here tonight. Our technical director, Rob O'Keefe, our camera operators, Matt Winsky and Malcolm Zale, and I am Tim Coette. Wrapping up our fall sports coverage here on Milford TV for 2015. Your final score, one final time, Milford 48 and Framingham 26. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody. They'll pick up the tempo here as this catch is made on the near side, and dancing untouched into the end zone is the sophomore Tyler Joyce. An empty backfield for Lanzetta, now looking towards the near side. The quick completion to Blake Hill, a move around the defender, and he is in for the touchdown. Under 5 minutes now to go in the quarter as the pass into the end zone is complete to Jack Capoletti for the touchdown. Lanzetta will look to throw an empty backfield. Now feels the pressure, backs up, now throws over the middle, complete to Capoletti, who springs loose along the far sideline, bounces off a defender at midfield, now crosses back towards midfield, he accelerates, a desperation tackle missed for Framingham, and in for the touchdown is Jack Capoletti. An 81-yard touchdown catch for Capoletti, who again have an empty backfield. Lanzetta throwing for the end zone, and Blake Hill back into the game, and he's able to make the 6-yard touchdown grab. Lanzetta an empty backfield. The quick pass, it's completed to Hill on the near sideline. He stays on his feet, stays in bounds, spins off of a couple of tackles, and in for the touchdown. Framingham imploring that he was out of bounds back towards the 10, but instead it is a 35-yard touchdown catch reeled in by Blake Hill. North Attleboro, Mansfield, King Philip, Franklin, and Taunton, as the pass is completed to Tony Mobilia, who takes it in for the Scarlet Hawks touchdown. A 9-yard touchdown catch from Lanzetta to Tony Mobilia.